The door of your house is open in this exact moment for the arrival of wealth, and there is a movement in the invisible world that is heading toward your address with the urgency of someone carrying a package that cannot be returned. Feel the floor under your feet, those boards or that concrete that sometimes seem colder when the gas bill is overdue. And imagine now that the weight that this house carries, the weight of collection letters hidden in the drawer, of telemarketing calls that are actually the desperation of debtors, of nights when you woke up hearing the silence of the empty refrigerator and the breathing of your children sleeping without knowing that the bread for breakfast has not yet been bought. All of this is being removed now, as if an army of angels were changing the furniture of your destiny and bringing new gold furniture. You know the bitter taste of saying no to those you love, not by choice, but because the wallet said no first. You know the weight of being the doorman of your own house and having to deny entry to what the family needs, the shame of hiding the cell phone balance from your spouse. But I am here to tell you that someone is sending money to your house right now, not tomorrow, not after the salary, not when the economy improves, now. And when I say someone, I am not talking about a government, a social program, a distant relative, or a random miracle. I am talking about the creator of the house, the architect of the home, the owner of the roof and the foundation, the one who saw you locking the door at night with a furrowed brow and decided it was time to send a shipment that does not need a tracking code, because the delivery is guaranteed and the recipient is you. The truth that they never told you, and that some people prefer you never discover, so that your house continues to depend on systems that fail, is that the house has an address in heaven long before it has a number on the street. And at this celestial address, there is a deposit that has been being processed since before you were born, an inheritance of provision that was prepared to cover every tile, every room, every plate, every bill, every dream of every person who sleeps under your roof. What is missing in your house is not effort, it is not work, it is not economy. What is missing is the declaration of possession over this deposit that is ready to be sent. God does not send money to those who ask with a trembling voice. God sends money to those who open the door of the house and decree that the provision has the right address, a fixed number, and a guaranteed recipient. I guarantee that when you pronounce the prayer I am going to deliver to you now, a current of financial provision breaks in the spiritual world, and the resource begins to travel at maximum speed to your house. And I guarantee more. It is not just once. It is from now on. The family that lives in this house will never lack again. There will never be a lack of bread. There will never be a lack of gas. There will never be a lack of light. There will never be a lack of medicine. There will never be a lack of education. There will never be a lack of transportation. There will never be a lack of clothing, shoes, leisure, and the best of the land. But before we open the door and decree this delivery, I need you to register the faith of your house in the visible world, because the family that declares prosperity together is the family that receives it multiplied. If you believe that your house is decreed as the address of financial miracle, and that no one who sleeps under your roof will ever feel the hunger of lack again, write now in the comments, with the authority of someone who has already heard the car of provision stop at the curb. My house is the address of financial provision, and my family will never lack again. Write this so that heaven registers the address, so that the universe confirms the recipient, so that your house is marked as a permanent delivery location. And now, prepare your spirit and repeat with me with unshakable faith the words that will open the doors, turn on the lights, and fill the cabinets of your house with a wealth that has no expiration date. I now invoke the authority of the Lord of hosts, the God who is refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. And I declare that my house, this address, this roof, these walls, this home, and every person who lives in it is under the protection and direct provision of the heavenly throne. I decree that the spirit of lack, of scarcity, of penury, of despair, of shame, and of financial limitation is now expelled from my house, swept from my door, removed from my rooms, and banished to never return. Because this home was purchased by the blood of the Lamb, and is God's property, and in God's house misery does not enter. I command that every curse of poverty that hovered over this roof, every negative word that was spoken within these walls, every fear that was breathed in this environment, every anxiety that took over my room, every argument that was born from lack, and every feeling of defeat that settled in my living room be now broken, cancelled and replaced by the blessing of abundance, by the anointing of prosperity, and by the promise that in this house there will never again be a lack of bread, milk, gas, light, water, medicine, education, transportation, clothing, shoes, leisure, and the best of the land. I declare that God is sending money to my house right now, in this exact minute, and that the provision is already in transit, has already left the heavenly warehouse, has already been dispatched by the angels of provision, and is already crossing the barriers of the spiritual world to manifest in my bank account, in my wallet, on my table, and in my pocket. I decree that the money that is held in other hands, that is retained in systems, that is forgotten in promises, that is locked in bureaucracies, or that was diverted by envy now finds the direct path to my house, and that this path is open, illuminated, safe, and without tolls. I command that my name, the name of my spouse, the name of my children, and the name of everyone who lives in this home be written in the book of plenty, that each one of us be blessed with resources that multiply, with opportunities that prosper, and with financial miracles that happen constantly and uninterruptedly. I declare that my refrigerator will never again be empty, that my table will never again be bare, that my door will never again be locked out of fear of those who collect, that my phone will never again be silenced out of shame to answer, that my account will never again be in the red, and that my heart will never again be squeezed by lack. I decree that my house is the address of provision, that my home is the dwelling of abundance, that my family is the heir of plenty, and that my roof is the shelter of endless blessing. I am the doorman who opens the door for the gold. I am the host who receives the provision. I am the administrator of the wealth that God sends. And I am the father, the mother, the son, the daughter who lives under the protection of the one who sends money to this house now and forever. It is done. It is decreed. It is sealed. And it is guaranteed that my family will never lack again. Now remain in silence within the walls of your house and feel what has happened. The walls that seemed cold begin to warm with the presence of a promise that has just been delivered. The floor that seemed heavy under your feet now supports a new foundation, reinforced by the cornerstone of provision. The air you breathe inside this home now carries the scent of a plenty that is arriving. The door that before seemed an exit for more bills and more collections is now an entrance for shipments of blessings, for deliveries of miracles, and for the sound of the steps of prosperity that approaches. The money that was stuck is now in motion. The dispatching angel has already left. The celestial shipment has already been posted. And the delivery address is your house, is your home, is the place where you sleep, where you cry, where you pray, and where you love. Repeat mentally and let these words become the anthem of your house. My house is the address of provision. God sends money here now. My family will never lack again. The bread never runs out. The light never goes out. The gas never runs out. The bill never goes into the red. The child never hears no again. The spouse never sees worry again. The door never locks out of fear. The phone never rings with collections. My house is an altar of plenty. My family is blessed. I am prosperous. I am provided for. I am guarded. I am supported. The provision is permanent. The abundance is eternal. The money arrives now. The blessing lives here. The lack has been expelled. The plenty has been installed. I receive. I thank. I govern. I protect. I prosper. This video did not arrive on your cell phone by a chance of fate. It was not the algorithm distributing content without destination. It was God looking at your house, seeing the light on in the window, hearing your prayer in silence, noticing the effort you make to keep the roof over the heads of those you love, and deciding that it was time to send a word of provision that would change not just one day, but the entire history of this home. You were chosen to break the cycle of need in your family. There is a dividing line between the house that lived in scarcity and the house that lives in abundance, and this line was crossed at the moment you decreed this prayer. From now on, every light that turns on in this house is the light of prosperity. Every plate served at this table is a plate of provision. Every night of sleep is a night of security. Every morning is a morning of certainty. The family that lives under this roof will never lack again. The money has been sent, the provision is guaranteed, the address is confirmed, and the delivery is immediate. Now I need you to mark this address in the digital world and become a channel of provision for other houses that also need to receive what is being sent. Write in the comments, in capital letters, as if you were placing the sign of the celestial address on the door of your house. My house is the address of provision, and my family will never lack again. By writing this, you are confirming to the universe that the delivery has been received and that your house is ready for permanent plenty. And if you know a house that today is dark, that is cold, that is empty, and that desperately needs this word, send this video now to that family, being the messenger who brings the address of provision to another home that also needs to be blessed. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a word of provision shipment, because every video here is a new shipment of blessings for your house. Leave your like as a sign that the light of prosperity has just been lit in your home, and come back tomorrow to reaffirm that your house continues to be the address of plenty. The lack has been expelled, the provision has been sent, the family is covered, and the money is arriving now. Amen.